a PB of 41.33 as we are getting into the race. Whereas Cross Product, still a very good runner with I believe a mid 52.
Yep.
So, of course, we expect Behemoth to probably come out with it, but we have seen a lot of different upsets in this tournament, so we will see how this one turns out.
Yeah, especially mentioning that Behemoth should probably go new round with maybe only 3 or 4 tanks. It is like a very difficult round, and we've seen a lot of people die in Super Metroid in this tournament. So we'll see. Obviously, not doing any commentary curse. It's just like stating the fact. And we get to relay for the first time, getting hit as fast as possible, and we'll be able to escape from Cirrus Station. Nothing too much to be said here. Very cool introduction for the players to get their hands warmed up.
Yeah, and going back to your new route point, we have seen, I believe, every new route runner, including the top runners like Behemoth and Zosti, pick up the Kraid energy tank, or not Kraid, the Ridley energy tank. So they would end the route with 4 tanks, which is obviously not a bad decision. It makes Mother Brain as well as Lower Norfair Escape a lot safer, but we will see what Behemoth decides to do. Behemoth ends series with a 45. Cross gets a little bit trolled by Steam and ends with a high 42. So both decent series times.
Disposable World Record holder and Croc RTA. So nice collection of world records. So what's going to happen there is the players are going to do pretty much the same thing. Well, at the start of the game, Behemoth is going to be being a bit closer to their health, trying not to lose as much, because the first boss is going to be Phantom for them, and it's going to be way harder, so health is going to be very important. While Cross Product is probably just going to go to kill Kraid and get his Varya and get some very nice upgrades super early, so they'll have nicer run, easier one, but a little bit slower due to just the route being a little bit longer.
Absolutely. So, of course, we do see most runners going for older routes, since it is safer and a good amount easier. But, of course, Behemoth has been running the game for a long time. Very experienced runner. Of course, Cross Product is too, hence a pretty good time himself, but Behemoth is generally going to be on another level to most runners.
But, you know, viewers love the underdog taking a nice upset. So we'll see. But so far, a little lead from Behemoth, about 10 seconds, getting that morphing ball first. We'll head to the first missile pack also, just to be able to grab, to open the doors and just to keep on going. Those 2 pickups are mandatory if you want to do anything in the game. So that's why, obviously, the round so far does not offer many choices.
One other thing to note about Behemoth is he is pretty well known for being fairly innovative in Super Metroid. You are going to see him do a lot of unique room strategies, such as the one you just saw in Construction Zone, going down to get the missile. And you will actually see one right here. He was one of the first people to do the ledge grab climb, which a lot of people refer to as the Behemoth climb now, actually. So you will see him do that here.
It's a very nice strategy. It's easier to be fairly consistent at it than the wall jumps. You just ignore the pirates if you're fast enough, and yeah, it's already done. One of the hardest room of that early game, and being able to go through it without losing any health is very important. Cross Product on the left side is going for the wall jumps, killing half of the pirates on its way.
Yeah, whether or not you do the wall jump or the ledge grab climb, it's a fairly difficult room, especially so early into the game. But both runners doing a excellent job through the climb.
New tourney time records. Yeah, Behemoth is having so far the fastest average times, and they have like the third, fifth, and sixth fastest race time for the tournament. So they definitely could do it. But first, they have to kill that bomb Torizo. One cycle, very nice. And
One thing we kind of glossed over is that both runners are using Moonfall, I believe. So that is fairly interesting. We see that's another choice that some runners opt into. Saves a few seconds, especially going down the climb room.
It makes falling faster in the biggest rooms in the game, but you have to deal with moonwalk for the entire run, and moonwalking can be sometimes a little bit tricky and also just throw you off for the boss fights especially, so it's definitely a choice to be made.
Crossproduct having a little bit of trouble with Bomb Torizo, got kind of trolled with the drops. We saw Behemoth there missile the pirates in the green pirate shaft. That is generally a sign you're going to be doing new route, as you do not want to be taking any unnecessary damage this early in the run when you're going to go to Fantoon.
The main issue then is that you have only 2 missiles and you need 5 to open the next door, so they'll need to get some drops here, and here we go, very nice. Just killing those 2 enemies and you're back at 5 missiles.
Yeah, it's actually a fairly tricky strat to get missiles in that room if you aren't used to it, so Behemoth definitely doing a good job there.
And grabbing those super missiles. Obviously, like, it's very well known, you do not kill Spore Spawn in speedrun, you just go for that Mog Ball that allows you to go under those doors. It's like totally mandatory if you want to save a big chunk of time.
Absolutely. I don't imagine any runners are going to be doing Spore Spawn in this tournament, but we could see some memes coming out now that it's the last week and some people are locked in and locked out of the next stage.
That's true. We are going to see some interesting races, I bet, on the upcoming days. Like, if you've seen any of the weekly races that on speed gaming, you know that some runners do love to mess with the route.
Shoutouts to Toasty with the Crocomire. But I digress.
Yeah, Behemoth is almost done with Brinstar there, heading to the Red Tower, as Crossproduct is just got their super missiles and heading to Big Pink, where they're going to get a missile pack and the Charge Beam. The Charge Beam is definitely one of the most important upgrades in the game. Allows you to kill the bosses and deal a lot of damage. So obviously you will take that, it's just in the route anyway. And Behemoth doing that crazy climb. Do note that you do not have charge waving when you do that route here, so it's that much harder, and you don't have high jump either, so being able to climb up here without anything pretty much is crazy good.
That was a really nice strat in Red Tower too, using the charge shot to kill 2 enemies at once and getting a couple drops. That was a pretty fancy little maneuver there. And we see Behemoth gonna be heading up to Fantoon now. So he's got pretty good ammo, I think, for this route. So you shouldn't be...
should be nice. They use the power bomb here so they could kill the 2 keg attacks and open the door. So on their way back, the door will be already open. Well, just need like a regular shot to open it. So it's just ammo management at that point. If you were wondering why they opened the door right now, they'll need power bombs for the Fantoon fight, because they will use the X Factor, I guess.
Looks like you jumped a little bit too early for CWJ. Just gonna horizontal bomb jump across the moat and unfortunately not getting it.
Oh, I forgot. New route doesn't have X Factor, obviously. You don't have the wave beam at that point.
Alright, this is of course a pretty difficult trick. You can see even some of the top runners having a little bit of trouble with it. Meanwhile, crossproduct is heading over to Kraid, making up a little bit of time here.
Oh, finally, Behemoth makes it, but that single room is probably the reason why New Route was so late into the Super Metroid speedrunning history, because it's crazy hard to get through past that mode. So big shout out to anyone that's able to do that.
Of course, Behemoth himself was the one who came up with New Route, or at least did it first, I believe. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong on that. So, and even he is having trouble with the moat, so you know it's definitely not easy. But we're gonna have pretty synced bosses here. Crossproduct just starting Kraid, whereas Behemoth just starting Phantoon.
Kraid is going obviously to be a much faster fight as he doesn't have as much HP, and oh wow, no! Crossproduct's hitting those super missiles too early, I think, and got the entire Kraid fight there.
Right, but a nice stack up there, getting the rest of the shots he needs pretty quickly. Getting pretty trolled with the drops though, didn't get any super missiles. So yeah, Behemoth got a slow first round Phantoon, but a pretty nice first Doppler.
The idea is to hit Phantoon with the missiles as much as possible.
And there it is, a slow mid from Behemoth. Pretty nice 2-round.
They got both one boss down and still need to kill these 3 others. Behemoth is going to head directly to Norther, while Crossproduct is going to do the same. So they will get a nice set of upgrades. Obviously, the high jump, very important. The speed booster also pretty mandatory in the run. And Crossproduct chooses to go pick the Kraid tank there.
Yeah, I talk about how most new runners opt to pick up the Ridley tank. We have also seen most old route runners opt to at least get the Kraid tank. It's one of the best safeties in the run since it gives you extra energy for pretty much the entire run. So
it's
we
a
see
small
most runners
detour,
opting for it.
and it's like you are crazy more resistant to anything with that. So extra E-tank, you just need 3 to beat the game, but having 3 already, well, just in a second, having 3 there is going to be very nice. It's pretty rare for runners to pick 5, but it happened.
A nice addict coming out of Behemoth. He is low on power bombs, as in he doesn't have any, so he's gonna want to pick up a couple of those. But he's doing pretty well so far, aside from the moat shenanigans. See, Crossproduct just got his high jump boots. And he's going to be on his way to get the items from Bubble Mountain.
Seeing Behemoth play is certainly very impressive, but they'll just get the gravity soon and be on their way, following Crossproduct, but having already done Wreck Ship. It's pretty hard to usually to say who's in the lead, but anyone who goes new route usually is a little bit faster. But we will have to wait actually for the golden statue to see them being back on the same route again. So it's in a long time, and they will just do everything in a different order. The main difference also is that Behemoth is not going to grab the plasma beam, so that's going to be another big detour for our Crossproduct.
Right, we are going to be seeing Behemoth pick up the Cephi beam soon enough. But yeah, new route is about 2 minutes faster than old route when executed properly. So I'm not totally sure. I know there's like specific events where the routes will hit about the same time, but I don't know what they are. So Just gonna have to guess, I suppose.
Cross-product on their way to the speed booster. Probably one of the most well-known Metroid upgrades where you can get to those crazy speed and get the shine spark going, which allow you to fly through the rooms. Very nice thing to have there. It's going to be used fairly regularly, either to go fast or to kill the enemies with the blue suit, which is also very nice to have.
Absolutely. We will be seeing Behemoth pick up his speed booster and wave beam pretty soon after cross product, actually. So, and there it is. Shoutouts to Antinomy, aka whatever else you want to call him.
So Spacer beam, best beam, I guess. So since you don't pick up the plasma beam in that route, it's pretty useful to have that little upgrade. Spacer is one of the first beam of the game, so it's not like doing any miracles, but it's nice to have.
And that right there was why Behemoth wanted a power bomb. He wants to bomb that glass tube before he enters Norfair, because that means once he goes back to it at the end of the game to do Meridia last, he will already have it broken open. You saw him farm the B-Tome in Red Tower to get the power bomb he needed. So just a little bit of clever adaptation we've seen from a lot of runners. We've seen a lot of different people pick up that power bomb there when they need it.
Talking about routing, I have a question for you. Why are runners not doing cred right now? Why would it be any slower, since you have to kill cred anyway?
The reason you do Kraid after Ridley is because of Speed Booster. Mostly, it saves a pretty significant amount of time in Kraid's lair, actually.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
As well, it is a nice place to refill supers for Botwoon after you generally use them all on Ridley.
So another big difference between those two runners is that Behemoth is getting the Ice Beam right now. They are going to head to Ridley, so they need like all the power they can. And the Ice Beam is a nice damage upgrade, so they are getting it right now. Whereas for cross product, getting the Ice Beam would be actually slower, because when you freeze an enemy, it's on your way. You actually have to kill it. It's just like that's much painful. So, and you would have to disable it to use the X Factor anyway. So it's going to be picked up, but way later in the route.
We also saw a pretty nice Alpha Spark from cross product as unfortunately having a little bit of trouble in Red Tower. This room, or this specific area, can go pretty bad if you mess it up, since all the Rippers will be in random positions, so it can go bad really quickly. Luckily, it didn't go too bad for cross product.
Yeah, the other enemies are very interesting. They are only moving when they are on the screen. So depending on your height, they will get desynced or resynced. So if it goes well the first time, it's all good. If not, it can be a nightmare. And Behemoth climbed the Bubble Mountain with by freezing the enemies. Usually you see wall jumps on the left wall, but they did a different strat, which looks very cool in my opinion.
Right, that is one of the advantages of having Ice Beam for Norfair movement. You get to do some fun stuff with it.
And finally, Speed Booster. Well, cross product are making their way towards the wreck ship, and you'll see the difference it makes to have the Speed Booster for the modes.
I think one of the places, not where the run syncs up, but where generally the two runs will hit the marks at the same time, is New Route going to Lower Norfair Elevator and Old Route picking up Gravity Suit. I think those happen at about the same time. So we can see Behemoth is probably a little bit ahead of crossproduct.
Especially with crossproduct missing the chain spark ones. They're probably trying to go for, yeah. Oh, did not get it, sadly. Use the super missile, which travels a little bit faster than a missile. They were going for ocean fly there. And here we go.
Right, but of course, if you miss the ocean fly, you can just do that and spark across the ocean from the room itself.
Which is not too bad, because that means you get to Fentoon with more HP and more HP and less problem on the boss. Fentoon can be very scary. And, you know, it's always good to have some health getting there. Or 218 HP for crossbow should not be a problem.
Right, I would argue that if you don't go for the safety crate tank, Fentoon is probably the scariest part of Old Route. But since he has that, he should be fine. But we have seen a decent amount of runners die to Fentoon, so hopefully we don't see that here. Nice lava spark from Behemoth, by the way. That's a pretty tight shine spark to get.
Chat, he's wondering if doing the Mog Ball before the speed booster is faster than arm pumping. Behemoth got to the speed booster in the room before with a Mog Ball, when a lot of runners just do arm pumping and running on that room.
Huh, I'm not actually sure. I would imagine arm pumping is faster. It's a pretty nice Fentoon fight from Cross. I think he got trolled a little bit by patterns, but pretty nice fight. But I would imagine arm pumping would be faster because, you know, it's just slightly faster in general. Although when you mock ball, you don't actually lose your movement speed. So I don't know.
Crossproduct getting out of the wreck ship now, having to go through the attic to get to the gravity suit, while Behemoth gets to the final rooms of Low Norther. Charging a Shine Spark here to kill the Kai Hunter, so it lags less.
Alright, that is another thing. Behemoth actually has one of his angle buttons set to run, I believe, R, so he actually only has one angle button that he can use for arm pumping, so since that's the case, it might be faster for him to mock ball.
Oh, yeah, that's probably why. Nice tight powerbomb there, barely making room for Samus to go through. Missing the Kagos on this spike platform, sadly.
He's a little bit low on health, but he should get all health from this guy, so he's actually fine, never mind.
Yeah, so good. 270 HP, 10 supers. Should make for a nice Ridley fight. Although do note that Behemoth doesn't have the plasma beam, so if you're used to see only 20 charged shots on the boss, it's going to be a little bit longer than that.
Right, with just the beam combination that Behemoth has, it is 60 shots, although he will take that down pretty significantly with his ammo count. I believe each super missile is equal to
20 shots in that situation, if I recall correctly.
Well, it would be 30 super missiles, so each super missile is 2 shots less you have to do, and each 3 missiles is 1 shot less. So you can see just from 12 missiles, that saves him 4 shots. Plus another 20 if he hits all his super missiles.
Yep, really pogoing, which is usually pretty bad for them. And
That was a really clean Ridley
Wow.
fight from Behemoth, actually.
That went really fast. Just doing the math for the HP they have, and they were already dead. And Behemoth not going for the relay tank. They have 263 health, so that makes sense. They have enough to just leave and get going. So actually a very aggressive routing for them.
Meanwhile, crossproduct just picked up his gravity suit. He's a little bit low on health, so we might see him take the Sloters refill. Shoutouts to Sloters, of course. But he's good on everything else. He's got plenty of ammo and all.
He's still killing the enemies and picking up supers as he goes.
Hold on, somebody's at the door. I'll be right back.
And yeah, they will be farming a little bit. Only 73 HP. When they kill Botwoon, right after that, they will have a nice E-tank they'll grab. So it's just a matter of being able to get there and kill the boss, which can be troublesome sometimes. 4 power bombs is enough to get there. And just having to make their way towards Moridia, while the Behemoth on the right side of the screen is just going back to leave Norther, dodging the Kai Hunter there. It's incredibly hard to kill them here, so just dodging them is way better when you don't have a plasma beam. And voila, already done. With lower Norther getting on track to go to Moridia, while crossproduct also is getting to is in Moridia, but didn't kill Ridley yet. And only 92 HP. Health is a concern, should be fine, but they have to be extra careful. Not getting killed by a fish, please. 32 HP. And making that Shine Spark is going to be tricky with only 32 HP. So yeah, they're choosing not to spark here. And that could be hell now, getting up on top of Mount Everest with no HP to go for that Shine Spark, and obviously no grappling hook there. Yep, crossproduct is in a dire situation. Behemoth obviously first has to kill Kraid, as it's not dead yet. And
so I just came back, and I'm not sure why crossproduct didn't take the
yeah, I'm not sure either, because they got like hit a couple of times on a fish that dealt like 40 HP worth of damage, and then could not Shine Spark up Mount Everest, and had to like figure out a wall jump strat, which took time. So it took time. So Behemoth is just making even more ground and killed the Kraid.
So I believe he can take 2 hits from Botwoon, maybe 3. I'm not totally sure how much damage he does.
They are aiming for that X Factor to hit as soon as Botwoon picks his head, and well, oh, very nice fight.
Yeah, he's not gonna take anything.
Okay. Yep, they went for a little bit of health, but realized they didn't need it, so there we go. Very nice Mog Ball into that little hole. And they're going to charge a Shine Spark here. There is that full heavy strat upcoming, one of the hardest Shine Spark in this entire run. They are just going for the... Oh! Try to go for half the room, and we're a little bit too slow.
So Behemoth is a little bit low on super missiles. Ideally, you want 7 going into Botwoon, or into Meridia. 1 for the door and 6 for Botwoon, but he only has 5. So I'm not totally sure how this Botwoon fight is gonna go.
They may have like some nice drops on those enemies. Not even going for it. Okay. Well, 4 supers to kill the boss is not enough. So at least it's a little bit better to kill Botwoon with charge shots when you have the spacer. But it's still not ideal because the hitbox of the boss is kind of weird.
Well, almost got the 1 round with only 4 supers. That was a really good fight considering the ammo situation from Behemoth.
Yeah, apparently nothing is slowing them down. Crossproduct having a little bit of trouble getting rid of Dragon.
Yeah, I think he had a bad opening onto Dragon. I'm not totally sure, but the fight's going pretty well for him. As he's a little bit low, but Dragon is very close to dead. Behemoth, we saw, had to farm there for
Here we go.
an extra super, and Cross taking a little bit of Dragon chain damage there. But gets the fight done, no problem.
And yeah, we can see a lot of those situations where an old route runner and a new route runners are getting to Botwoon almost at the same time. Little high five from those 2 guys as Crossproduct leave the room while Behemoth is fighting the boss.
So here's another fancy strat that Behemoth is one of the few runners that does. I believe this is called the Rain Dance setup for Dragon.
Yeah, starting up Next Factor early and getting the Shine Spark and all the particles to hit at the same time. Very fancy. And yeah, Dragon is already dead.
Unfortunately, not gonna get the spike suit, so he's just gonna have to gravity jump out of the room.
So unequipping his gravity suit while jumping underwater gives that huge upward jump that allows to leave the room. You don't need the space jumps so you don't take it. That would be 20-second like straight up loss, because only thing is left for Behemoth now is Torian just getting rid of the Metroid and kill Mother Brain, so it really doesn't make sense to get that space jump.
Right, and that is why you would want to keep a spark there. Like, it's definitely more important than it is in Old Route, because in Old Route you can still space jump back through Coliseum, whereas in New Route things would be a lot more awkward. But Behemoth is making really good pace right now.
Crossproduct is getting rid of all those pirates. Once you get the plasma beam, you have to kill them to leave the room.
Behemoth is also a bit low on ammo. Generally want to have a couple more supers than that heading into Turian.
Yeah, the problem with Torian is that you have to kill all the Metroid, obviously, so that's 1 super or 3 missiles per. But they drop like nicely, so it's okay. But you also have to get enough resources at the end of Torian to be able to kill Mother Brain. So entering the area with low ammo count can be a problem.
So we will see how that turns out. Meanwhile, Crossproduct going down to Norfair to fight his Ridley. We will see whether or not he decides to take the northern or the southern route to Ridley or into Lower Norfair, but I think he does northern route.
Yeah, first they have to get the ice beam, and then 2 ways to get there. Usually the southern route is faster, if I recall correctly, but it's also more technical, so getting out of the room with the mog ball can be a good thing to go northern route.
So Behemoth looks like he's on about a mid 52 or 42 pace, rather.
Definitely sub 52.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's probably sub 52. But a pretty impressive run from Behemoth. The only real big mistake I saw was the moat. He lost like 20-30 seconds there. Maybe a little bit less than that.
Yeah, they didn't got the pillars, also a couple of like tiny details like that, but overall like the fight and the execution were fantastic, so...
Oh yeah, that's true. He also missed fast pillars. Gonna go for some grouping strats on these Metroids and gets a lot of supers there,
Nice.
so he's definitely a lot happier with his ammo now.
Yep. Used only missiles, clearly showing that was a little bit worried with that. And 28, which is plenty. Yeah, they will leave Torian, well, the last Metroid room with full ammo, I guess. Very nice. 2010. What you want to kill Mother Brain and open the doors, and being able to miss a couple of missiles is always nice.
Crossproduct on its way to Ridley now. Looked like he went southern route actually, not northern route. So sorry, I lied.
Setting up the Shine Spark here. Oh, not getting it.
Not gonna get it, but he has plenty of power bombs to just bomb the pillars.
And gets into the aptly named worst room in the game, where all those pirates are kind of tricky to get past, but with the space jump and a couple of power bombs, it makes it look easy.
Yep, took a hit there, but definitely a really good worst room in the game. And Behemoth got a super snipe there. That was a little bit sketchy, but luckily he had an extra missile pack, so he was still okay.
Barely made it though. Thankfully he had those very nice drops in Torian.
Absolutely.
And once again, it's down the plasma beam. It's not 20 shots, has to make but 60. So it's going to be a little bit longer and a little bit scarier since they didn't pick the extra E-tank.
Alright, this is of course, besides Lower Norfair Escape, this is the, I guess, second reason you would pick up the extra E-tank. He actually gets hit by one of the onion rings there, but he's got enough health, I hope.
Just have not to be hit anymore. Crossproduct is in a dire situation. It was only 64 HP, but no, made it. Killed the pirate. It's all good.
Wouldn't call it a dire situation, but might want to farm for health depending on how confident he is on Ridley.
I wasn't sure before he killed the pirate, but they need HP already here. And Behemoth makes it without taking an extra hit, so they're good. 300 damage later. Mother Brain is getting ready to kill them.
Really unfortunate for Behemoth to take a death here. But wait!
Such a surprise. It should be random. Like you have 50% chance for Baby Metroid to save you and 50% chance to take a death. That would
Yeah,
be the best
or
game
we
ever.
could not do that.
Obviously, it's all a cutscene. Just have to wait through it. And cross-product getting his Ridley fight. Nice. It's almost done already. The Plasma Beam makes good work of his health. Be careful though.
I think Ridley's almost dead here for cross products. Looks like he thinks so too. And
Yep.
there he goes.
They'll, with 80 HP, they will maybe grab that extra E-tank if they think it's not enough else to get back.
Really
But,
bad drops from Ridley, but he's still going. He's not going to pick up the extra E-tank.
That's not so fantastic health-wise.
Yeah, he's going to be really he's going to have to be really careful on this escape.
Maybe a couple of nice drops here would help. And
You
yeah,
might
it's-
choose to farm the metal pirates for health, since he has full ammo, so they'll only drop health. But no, he doesn't decide to do that either.
doesn't care, just he's going. He got, like, crossproduct is playing very well, but he got like in Maridia in a difficult situation health-wise, and he's just going full hand. They probably know, like, Behemoth is not going to make any compromise, so just going for it.
Right. He actually, I'm surprised how risky he's playing. Didn't opt for really any refills or safeties besides the crate tank, which, I mean, most likely he was going to pick that up anyway, so definitely pretty impressive how risky he's playing.
Getting past the Sky Hunter without getting hit, which is almost mandatory at that point when you have so low HP. And Behemoth, no problem at all, getting that low 43. They'll be done in a moment as soon as Samus gets to their ship. There we go.
Gonna finish with an official SRL time of 43 minutes and 12 seconds. So GG to Behemoth.
Yeah, those 4 races they did, like, were just like crazy good. So
Cross product.
Oh wow, cross product 48 HP will kill the
Oh
final.
my god, that was
Wow. Okay.
that was ballsy.
That was
Just
way
stood
too
there and
close.
shot. If he didn't kill the guy before he reached him, he would have just taken the death there. But this man knows no fear.
Yep. it
Stands
was
his
all-
ground and takes out the key hunter.
Should be okay now that they are on upper offer. Nothing should kill them really.
Oh, absolutely.
And they just have to leave that place and get to Torian to kill Mother Brain, so it's almost done. 44 minutes in. It's actually on par with PB pace, I'd say. 52 minutes the PB.
Unfortunately, I think it's a little bit slower than that, but definitely still a pretty solid run from Cross Product, only being a couple minutes behind his PB. Pretty impressive for a race setting.
Yeah, we were talking about that right before the race started. That being in a race can be super stressful, and like it's a pretty like it's not as just like doing a no reset run. It's when you know you have someone to beat, or and that your stream on speed gaming can be a bit stressful. So big shout out to anyone who's doing that tourney and actually able to beat Super Metroid in those settings. It's crazy.
Cross product,
Oop.
kind of trolling a little bit there. Gonna
Yep.
get taken out by the Sephi fish.
Yeah. Wow. I think that's
He's
it for
gonna
them.
forfeit from the race.
Wow.
Just gonna meme it up a little bit. Unfortunately, or I guess fortunately, the race doesn't really matter too much for the group standings. I believe Behemoth and Kip are both locked to get out of the group, so cross product just having a little bit of fun there. And so that's gonna be the race.
Yeah. Very nice race from both of them. Behemoth clearly got like a fantastic time and totally understand why crossproduct would not want to go through the end of the game, knowing they lost. And dying to that fish, is pretty nice. It's not an enemy that gets too much love anyway.
Right. I was about to talk about how cross product was like really not showing any race nerves with how risky he was playing, but then he has to go and die.
They put on a good show. Like overall, the execution was pretty nice, and but yeah, it's obviously like Behemoth just did not let them anything at all. Collected 20% of the whole game, which you can go like, I guess the world record is 19% with only 3 missile pack. And cross product actually died to the 3 musketeers, and the ghost of Samus ran to the Sephi fish. Okay, good enough.
Of course, cross product also making sure our next race is on schedule. Truly a 300 IQ move.
So,
I mean, that's really what it takes to be a Metroid runner, I guess.
Right now on Speed Gaming 4, we are having Maniacal versus Snake Lancer for the next match of the Super Metroid Any% 2018 tournament. Obviously, on Speed Gaming, you also have like a nice set of races taking place right now, so be sure to check the schedule. And if you want to check the brackets, !SM for all your information about the Super Metroid tournament. It's been a pleasure doing commentary with you, GG Derp.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure to commentate with you as well. And so I believe the next race is actually on this channel, so that will be starting right now. So on behalf of everybody, thanks for watching, and we hope you enjoy our next race. You have anything else to say, Twin?
Nope. See you next time.